You want to know how I killed Beck? Oh, shit.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know, this Beats, your girl Kyrie coming at you for a new video. So today we're going to talk about You Season 5, and let's get right into the video. If you have not watched You, it's basically like the point of view of a serial killer. So we went down 4 seasons, now we're on season 5, and in this season is basically the downfall of Joe Goldberg. Which I'm just like, wow. So let's really get down to it, because really, Joe is the reason why Joe got caught up and Joe got, what he got at the end is his fault. Like, if you haven't tuned into season 5, it's the last season of You should tune in. But yeah, it's his fault. Because dude, like, you had the life. You got off scot-free. You had your wife covering up everything that she did in the past, had everything sealed, everything under wraps, whatever. You were married 3 years now, have custody of your son Henry, all that. And what? You decided to give all that up for Bronte, who was literally pulling a long con on you. We come to find out that Bronte was basically Beck's student at the time, and she knew about you. She knew that she was dating you at a time when she was alive. Come to find out she died. Then get into this chat room, finds Clayton, Phoenix, and Dominique, and basically they team up together to try to take you down. Basically doing way too much, because you break into his bookstore not once but twice. Break into it twice. And then, start having an affair with him, all that. And then I'm just like, when you started to back out of the situation because you started having real feelings for him, you decide to up and leave. For what reason? Up and leave with no rhyme or reason. Like, you're not telling this dude why. This dude telling you that, I think he was telling you before she left that he was gonna divorce Kate. Anywho, she upped and left, went to Atlantic City, whatever. Then she calls from a diner. And all you had to do was call back, because she decided to drop the call with the quickness. He calls back the diner. The diner's like, hello, what, Laurel Diner. He finds you where you were, comes to the house where you stay at, because all you had to do was ask a few questions about where you were, who you were with. Because they were leaning so hard, well, Clayton was leaning so hard into the whole abusive boyfriend trope. So they conned him into believing that, Clayton was his abusive boyfriend, and Joe had to save Bronte from, Clayton. Joe ends up killing Clayton, which I'm just like, oh, what's going on here? In self-defense. And Dominique and Phoenix had the camera on while this was all happening. So it was literally on TikTok Live that Joe killed Clayton. We also find out that Clayton was the therapist from season 1, Nikki Angeline, from season 1's son. So he's trying to get justice from his father, and while Bronte's trying to get justice for Beck. So this is what's happening. So while we go down the situation, Bronte is basically feeling guilty a bit, like, oh, he killed Clayton in self-defense. I mean, Clayton was kind of being a little aggressive, though. Like, she did push her down to the ground. Like, he was doing the most. I'm not even gonna lie. Was doing the most. And unfortunately, Joe was there and saw that. And, that's what happened. So while Dominique and Phoenix basically said, well, Joe killed, Clayton in a rage, Bronte basically said, well, she's like, I think Joe was just trying to protect him from an abusive boyfriend. Like, we literally conned him believing that. So he gets catfish, thinks that he got played then I guess she tries to get back with him, basically like, it was real, or what she texted him was like, oh, I told the police that it was self-defense. So when he got that text message, he started like, oh, maybe it was real between us. While this is happening, Kate knows that, Joe was having an affair. Joe did something to Reagan, and, he's just not fit to be around, the family. After she found out that he was cheating on her with Bronte, she basically was ready to cut ties. She's like, forget, covering you up. She's like, let's open the seals, find out the files, whatever, and stuff, all that stuff. She tells her brother Teddy everything that's going on. Like she really, as soon as she found out that Bronte was the other woman, like, it was wraps for Joe. It was wraps. Has the connection. She has all the money. She's a billionaire. And Joe failed to realize that, dude, you're basically broke. You had no savings. And then the savings that he did have, I guess it was joint, or if it was separate, she still had access to his account. So she drains it. So he had no money to his name. No money to his name. He did say he saved stuff in the Moonies, but they burned down Moonies. Like, what? Like what? Now, let's back up and talk about what's going on. She tells Teddy everything that, Joe is this killer, but if I take him down, he can also take me down too, because I was complicit in things. I'm just like, you did tell him to kill Uncle Bill. Like, we can't just pretend like, oh, he's just going on a rampage. Reagan literally threatened to expose both you and him. Like, let's be real about it. I mean, I don't understand why Kate's acting all, like, let's be all so serious. Granted, that was your sister, and I understand no matter what, that is your sister at the end of the day, and you're still gonna, like, love her, whatever. But, like, you told the dude to kill your own uncle. Like, if family was so off tables, then I don't understand why your sister would try to destroy both you and your husband at the time. Like, let's be so for real. Your uncle got killed by Joe, but then now your sister, your evil sister who's trying to take you down, is where we stop the line. Oh, Joe's evil, Joe's bad, blah 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 blah. I'm just like, Kate, let's be so for real. Let's be so for real. You put Nadia in jail to cover up, to hide for Joe. Like, you knew Joe was a killer. Like, let's be so for real. In the end, when she was finding out that he killed the rich people, and, she knew that, Joe had a hand in killing her own father, I'm just like, dude, you knew he killed people before. Like, I don't understand why it's such a shock. Let's take him down now. I feel like the trigger for her, which was, like, the biggest trigger that we saw, was her finding out that he was having an affair with Bronte. And I'm just like, dude, you really messed up everything for Bronte. Like, anyway, yeah, Bronte was pulling that long con, all that, came back to Joe. They started having, an open relationship now. Everybody, he's, estranged from Kate, can't see his son, dating Bronte, all that. Bronte left the whole situation, all that. But Joe's broke. Kate basically cut him off. He don't got nothing. The Moonies, it's in Kate's company's name. The apartment is in Kate's company's name. Like, he had literally nothing to his name, because even the money, the cash that he had downstairs, he couldn't access that. It was in the eviction notice. So, he would have been trespassing if he went down there. So, what happened now, Kate's, like, talking to Teddy. Teddy's like, Teddy's a black man. He's basically saying, like, I can't be a part of this. Like, I'm barely a part of his family because, Tom, Kate's father, never really claimed him. Like, you're just trying to protect yourself. You don't care about anybody else. Because since Joe was such in a rage to try to get Henry back from Kate, he was basically, keeping tabs on, Bluetooth, location trackers, everything, whatever. So he found out that Kate had Henry staying at Teddy's house. So Teddy's like, no, you need to go. Teddy pulled a knife on Joe, but Joe got the knife back. And, Henry came down in the nick of time and was like, what's going on between you and Teddy? And, he tried to play it off. Anyways, Teddy was like, I'm sticking my neck out trying to help you, and you over here got this, serial killer, psychopath, almost killing me. And he killed your own sister. Like, what's going on? When are you gonna say enough is enough? Like, even if you're complicit, even if you have to go to jail, what is enough gonna be enough? So there we have it. So Teddy just yeah, you gotta do something. So Kate flows back to London. She gets Nadia out of jail. And then she talks to Phoebe. Phoebe basically was like, you know what? She's sorry for pushing Joe onto Kate and whatnot and everything. So they had a plan to basically, they can't really stop Joe, but they can try to kill him. So they had a plan. So they teamed up together, and then they also brought Marianne back. And it was like, oh, we thought Marianne died in season 4, but no. Joe was very much slacking, because I'm like, okay, Marianne alive, and then you come to find out another person ended up still being alive. Did you even, for a serial killer, you were slacking? And I'm just just saying that lightly, you were slacking. Marianne alive, they basically try to break Joe. They put him in the cage, and basically try to get him to confess to the murders, and, of what he did. But Joe, he was a bit too smart. Because, Nadia was just about to shoot him and kill him. But they're like, no, you can't shoot him and kill him. If we were trying to make this look like a suicide, we can't shoot him. So, Marianne's like, no, don't shoot him, da-da-da. They took his key away, his extra key, blah, blah, blah. But Joe was a little too smart. Dude put a key in his arm, cut open his arm, put the key in there. And they didn't know the better. He wrapped it up, wrapped his arm up, everything. And, he bit the key out of his arm, got out of the thing. And then when Kate came back, because Kate was like, no, you guys, I'm going to have to be the one to kill him. You guys go, whatever. So Kate and him have a struggle. He shoots Kate, then hits her over with a hammer. But then the biggest thing that's going on is that because he had Maddie kill Reagan, and then because Maddie was so infatuated with Harrison, because I was like, all you had to do was just, wait a month, Maddie. You didn't have to be like, oh, let Harrison and you get together. Because I'm just like, the biggest thing is that people can tell who you are based on how, you kiss or whatever, things like that. With seconds of, her and Harrison kissing, he realized it was Maddie. Because I'm just like, they've been having an affair for how long? They've been having an affair for how long? And you decide to get into that motion with him, and you wouldn't think he would realize it was you. Really? Let's think. You wouldn't think he would realize it was you? He found out it was you, so he's like, what happened to Reagan? And she basically got to call Joe, and basically they had to come up with a plan to just lay low for the couple months, for the month, and just not say anything. You get to live with Maddie, happily ever after. But Joe went back on his word. Because I don't know, why would he do that? He went through this trouble of getting, Maddie and Harrison to be on board and not tell about what happened to Reagan. And he decided to went on his word, basically turn them into the police and to lure Kate back. But Kate and Nadia knew, they knew he would do something like this. So they had his tea. But, he did that. Maddie was very upset, very frustrated. So she's like, you know what? I'm going to burn it down to the ground. Harrison decided to basically confess to it, to being he the one took the fall for the whole situation. So she burned Moody's down to the ground. And while this is happening, he goes back downstairs because he's locked down. He's locked down in the basement area. And Kate hits him over the head, and, they're downstairs. Kate ends up getting a confession out of him killing Love because he poisoned her and burned the house down, and him killing Tom, her father. And she sends the clip to Nadia. So, the voicemail is sent. He can't take it back. And, he thought he was going to die down there. But while this all interrogation was happening, Marion happened to got through to Bronte, because she was like, you get so infatuated with Joe, all that, start to think all these different things. But the thing is that she came to New York to try to find out what happened to Beck. And you basically lost your purpose because you got so infatuated with Joe. So with that being said, when she realized that Marion's still alive, Marion's basically telling you that Joe is really a bad guy, she kind of realized, like, you know what, I made a mistake, let me call Dominique and Phoenix back, all that, and so on. And she does. But I'm like, when she came downstairs, didn't Joe realize the first person that she came to see if that was okay was Kate? Like, maybe that was an oversight on his part, but she came down to see if Kate was all right before coming to see if he was all right. I mean, I don't know if he saw that, but she realized that maybe Kate was out of it, and then she decided to help Joe. But my thing is, if Kate had a gunshot in the fire, she's already unconscious, how in the world did she end up being alive towards the end? Like, oh, she just has some burn scars. Like, what, really? And yeah, like how she ended up being alive. But yeah, this whole season was like the downfall of Joe, because he was basically missing key things. Marion ended up still being alive. Kate ended up still surviving the fire. He went back on his word with Reagan, with Maddie and Harrison, which was like, why would you do that? And then Bronte catfished him the first time, and before being cautious with Bronte, he decided to go on the run with her and think like you're gonna have a happily ever after everything that happened. But Bronte was like, no, I need to get answers for what happened to Beck. So she does this like thing with him, go on a road trip with everything with him, but she carries a gun. So they go to this house, they're like basically squatting in this house, whatever. And she's like, what happened to Beck? What did you do to Beck? And she also basically brought a book that she's like, underline everything that you've written and take out everything, that she written. So, because it seemed like you took Beck's voice away because you finished the book for her. So, the book was like maybe 200, 300 pages long. So, he sat there and basically underlined, took out whatever he written from the book. And while he's at gunpoint in his underwear, might I add. I'm like, bro, you got bamboozled so hard. She's fully clothed and you're in your underwear. Like, wow. Basically in the fight, he talks to Henry. Henry basically tells him like, what did you do to Kate? And you know what? You tell me that there was no monsters in my room, but you lied to me because you were the monster. That was real mess. It was real sad because it's like, whoa, really the downfall. Like, even the person that you were doing everything for is basically finding out who you really are. Your 6-year-old son found out that you're really a monster. Which is crazy. It was sad. He really had nothing. Like, everybody gone. Everybody, the person that you're trying to run away with gave up on you. Your own son gave up on you. Like even before he got dumped into jail, like everybody was like done with you. So Bronte ended up being the hero, which is crazy because the Joe, he was drowning her. I guess she pretended to be, dead. But I'm just like, you had a broken ankle, you had a gunshot wound in your side, and you ended up catching up to Joe to get a gun off of the cop that Joe killed to keep him at gunpoint again. And then she ended up shooting him in his area. And so that's blown off. So going to jail. And the thing is that she has a confession. Because the fact that he underlined the book, and I think when she called 911, 911 could hear him confessing to killing Beck in the background. And when he called Henry, they had FBI agents in Teddy's house. So they were already, tracking Joe down in Teddy's house because they knew that he would try to reach out to Teddy. Like, dude was not thinking clearly. I feel like he lost the sauce. I mean, good on that because justice was served at the end of the day. But just like for a person who was very meticulous, very overthinker, analytical, and he also got catfished by the same person. gets catfish and, you know, bamboozle again the second time. Like, dude. And then you decide, you thought you killed Marianne, no. Kate dead, no. Bronte dead, no. Like, are you even the killer at the end of the day? Like, let's be real. But he was really being a monster. Like you weren't even killing for, to protect or self-defense. You kind of like lost that aspect of you and started just doing it because you said it felt right, which I'm just like, let's be real. Like, stop doing that. Like, let's stop doing that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to. But yeah, Bronte ends up, she has a book deal, ends up, you know, being the hero at the end of the day, taking down Joe, which I feel like that just kind of just felt very lackluster, but, you know, is what it is. Marianne ends up being able to live her life. Kate's alive, ends up having, you know, a relationship with her brother. You know, he's a CEO now. He's able to take Lockwood Corporation to the next level. She able to take care of Henry, all that. Joe's in jail, life without no parole. Yeah. And that's basically the end of you. I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, that was what was supposed to happen. He was supposed to rot in jail. Because, I mean, a lot of people, I guess, like to romanticize serial killers. And I feel like this show is like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. You know, we're going to, like, have justice be served. A lot of people want Joe to die, but they're like, no, we want him to pay for his actions. So they found out that he was behind all these murders, all these killings and whatnot. And, you know, it is what it is. They brought back a lot of, like, older characters, I think. And also, what happened to Ellie? But then again, he's in jail, life without no parole. But the season was interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, Joe is in jail. Justice was served. Everybody got, their happy ever after. I just think that Kate getting off so scot-free, like why? Like, she was complicit. Like, at least anything, she should do a little, house arrest or something. Like, let's think about it. Like, but, she gets off scot-free. Maddie gets off scot-free because, she went to rehab and everything. But, it is what it is. That was the season of You, season 5. The end of an era of this show. And at the end of the day, it was a decent ending because everybody got their justice. But anyway, guys, if you like the video, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, comments, concerns. If you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe. And thank you guys for watching this video. Peace.